Welcome to the Daylan Show. How y'all doing? How y'all living? So good to see you for what is already the fourth episode of season number 5. Thank you guys for joining us. So happy to be a part of your week, your day, whatever it is, your weekend. I'm grateful for every opportunity. Like I've said that so far a lot, and this is the 5th year of doing this. So every opportunity I get to do this is kind of even more special than the previous years, if that makes sense. Thank you guys. I'm going to continue saying that throughout the whole season. So thank you guys for your support and love. So yeah, without me yapping too much, let's introduce our guest for today's episode, Mr. Tyler Buckner. Woo! See, man, first of all, thank you for joining me. And how's life treating you right now, man?
It's such an honor to be here. You know, when you first hit me up, I was a little bit, which I guess shocked, surprised because this only my I don't know 7th or 8th month here, and so I was kind of thrown off a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited to be here for sure.
Well, appreciate you for joining me. I think my thing for what I do is sharing stories, and I believe that everybody in this world has a story to be shared. So it was like 5 years ago, which is insane to say, but 5 years ago when I started, that was the goal, was to share stories of people that may not have had the opportunity to really share those stories. You know, over time, I've done some people that have had stories that have been shared, but over this time, I've also had people that have not been able to do that. So I love hearing that. So I'm grateful to have you on, man. This is epic for me, and every single episode for season 5 is epic. So I'm glad you're here with me. And really quick, Tyler, for people watching or listening that may not know a lot about you, just give them a brief introduction about yourself, where you're from, what you're doing right now in your life, and just some things you've been able to do across your lifetime that get you where you are today.
Okay, well, of course, y'all know my name is Tyler Buckner. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I went to Tennessee State all 4 years of my undergrad. I currently serve as a grad assistant for Ole Miss women's basketball. And just throughout my whole life, I've been honestly figuring out my journey. It's been mostly basketball. Basketball has taken me all over the place, from Tennessee State to Kennesaw State to here at Ole Miss, and it was all because of one ball, one orange ball, and then a dream. So
Yeah, man. I think that's one of my most beautiful things to hear any sports player say, but especially basketball. Like it's a round orange ball that has changed your life, that has changed millions of people's lives. So I love to hear that. And honestly, I want to stick right now. Ole Miss, Oxford, Mississippi. Talk about first off how you even got the opportunity to be a part of the Ole Miss women's basketball team. And so far, I know it's still early in your life, in your journey here at Ole Miss, but just so far, how has that experience been working here in Oxford?
the power of networking is really key.
Amen.
Like, when you're in athletics, college athletics at that, like, yeah, you work hard. Tons of people work hard, but
Mhm.
if you don't work hard and talk and keep those relationships, I'm not gonna say you're gonna be stuck, but you're kind of you're kind of gonna be stuck in trying to figure out the next moves, and it's gonna be really tough.
Yeah.
So I think that was the biggest thing for me. Um, Being here at Ole Miss so far, I've learned a lot. Being in Oxford in general is always a blessing because although it's a small town, it's a chance to build really good relationships with some of the people that work at different stores,
Yeah.
and ultimately as a GA, I mean, it could possibly help out the athletes as well. So that's pretty good for being at Oxford. Being at Ole Miss, working with women's basketball, I've had the chance to learn from of course, the legendary Coach Yo, and
Mhm.
then the assistants are really great as well when it comes to mentoring and teaching from all different levels, from on the court, being no character development off the court. So yeah, it's been really exciting for sure. It's never a day I come here and I don't like it. Like, I'm never gonna wake up and be like, oh my god, I can't stand here. I can't. I'm ready to go back to sleep. It's never that type of day here. So
I love that, and I just talked to Will Furnace the week the episode before this. He's a baseball player at Ole Miss, and he was telling me that one of the advices that his dad had given him growing up was to do something that you love, so it doesn't feel like you're going to work every day. So I love to hear you do that because for me, like I was telling you in the beginning, this is what I love to do. I love to share people's stories and learn about people and communicate with you guys. So I love to hear that that's the role you're in right now, and also because I think you're still trying to figure out what you want to end up doing in the long run too, which we will get into. But I want to go back, man.
What's going on, family? I hate to interrupt the video going on right now. Hope you guys are enjoying it, but I have to give a quick shout out to our very first sponsor, Shadrach's Coffee. Shadrach's is a coffee company that has been in the works for 17 years now. Originally originated in the state of Arkansas, my home state, and now they have ventured to Tennessee and Oxford, Mississippi. Shadrach's has opened their arms to me and put their faith in me, and I just want to say thank you to Shadrach's. If you're in Oxford, you can find Shadrach's at 1797 Jackson Avenue West here in Oxford. And even if you're on the Ole Miss campus, they have different locations on their food truck aisles across the campus. They're usually open at their Jackson Avenue Center from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Yeah, so just continue to go get your Shadrach's coffee. You get espressos, energy drinks, hot coffee. You can even get some milkshakes. Shadrach's is the place to go. Even you can get some Shadrach's apparel on their website, like I'm showing you here. And my favorite thing about everything about Shadrach's is they're centered around our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So you can go on the Shadrach's website and you can file a prayer request for yourself, for your friend, a family, anybody. All you have to do is click on prayer request here, type in the name, email, phone number, and your message, and Shadrach's will take care of it. They've done over 1,000 prayer requests in their 17 years of the company, and this is their goal. They are centered around profiting and making Jesus Christ their goal. So thank you guys so much. And thank you, Shadrach, for the sponsor. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. God bless.
From the beginning, Memphis, Tennessee, one of my favorite places on earth. Talk about what was growing up in Memphis like, man. Where was your lifestyle and love for Memphis like, man?
I've been all around Memphis. Growing up, I bounced around from neighborhood to neighborhood, city. Well, not city to city, but really just neighborhood to neighborhood. East Memphis. I went to Oak Haven elementary school in the second grade. Oh, I'm skipping first grade. First grade, it's kind of a blur. It's kind of a blur. But I went to Getwill, then Oak Haven from second grade through fifth grade, I believe, and then I ended up having to go to KIPP Memphis Collegiate Middle School in sixth grade. From sixth to really half of seventh grade. Seventh grade, we ended up moving, so I ended up transferring to a school in the suburbs. We call it Cordova, Tennessee. So I went to Mount Pisgah Middle School at in the seventh grade. Seventh grade, yeah, and then I transferred again because we moved. Well, not transferred, but I finished out the whole year in my seventh grade year, and then we ended up moving again. So in eighth grade, I went to Colonial Middle School. So honestly, I've bounced around from neighborhood to neighborhood for sure. Ninth grade. Now, when I hit the ninth grade, the high school years of my life, it was more consistent. So I ended up at Germantown High School. That's really when I ultimately like kind of figured out like what I wanted to do or what direction I wanted to go in. So I went to Germantown for all 4 years. I helped out with the girls basketball program from 10th through 12th grade. I was a manager. So I kind of got my foot in the door a little bit early, just helping out the coaches in high school. Um, I was I think in high school, I kind of I knew I wanted to do more when it came to basketball. Like, yeah, the manager role, you have a limited amount of things that you can do. And I was already ahead thinking like, what can I do more to help out?
Yeah.
And then also about 12th grade, I was thinking, what's next? What am I going to do in college? What college am I going to go to? But in Memphis, it's a good place to visit. I would say that when you live there for so long, you kind of feel like, okay, there's not much here. It's like, I mean, you got the mall, you have the Memphis Tigers and the Grizzlies, you have Beale Street. Aside from that, well, you got high school sports like you have Germantown High, their rivals with Houston, Collierville, somewhat Ridgeway, because they're all in like one. I would say in college basketball terms, it's conference. I would say that. So it's the high school version of that. I'm not sure what you're supposed to say. I think district. But yeah, so high school sports is always entertaining as well. You never know what you're gonna see. Because my freshman year, I was not freshman, but my yeah, ninth grade year, I was seeing a lot of things when it came to high school basketball, rivals, fights, cheerleading battles. You just never knew what you was gonna see, especially at those night games for sure. Oh, no, you can't leave out football as well. So yeah, Memphis is one of a kind. I would say that you never know what you're gonna see on a day-to-day basis in Memphis.
I want to ask you, okay? Think someone is watching. They've never been to Memphis before. Give them like 3 or 4 restaurants that you advise somebody to go to if visiting Memphis.
Honestly, you got Gus's fried chicken.
Okay,
Um,
I like that one.
People get on me all the time because I don't really go to none of the uncommon restaurants in Memphis, so I can't really give you two more answers on that because I'm a simple person. I
Okay.
go to Cheddar's, I go to Chipotle, the regular
Mhm.
food places that are everywhere. I guess downtown is a pretty good spot. Oh, Stacks pancakes. It's like fancier IHOP.
Yeah.
It's that in Collierville. Really good. I'm not sure if everybody has a Perkins in their city. So Perkins is pretty good as well. Good breakfast spot. Well, brunch, honestly. So yeah, Perkins, um, Gus, and what was the third one I just said? Dang, Stacks. Yeah, Perkins,
Okay.
Stacks, Gus's fried chicken.
I got some places I gotta try now. I like Gus's. Tyler did good with that. I like Gus's. If you ever in Memphis, try Gus's. That's a really good place.
Yeah.
Um, Tyler, I want to ask you. I'm big on family, and my family like my best friend, and they're my backbones. So just talk about your family. Your immediate family, the people that have surrounded you with love throughout your lifetime and helped gift you where you are today. Just talk about what they've meant to you and just some things that they've outpoured into your life to get you to the man you are today.
Um, I would say my mom and my grandmother and my dad. He would be mad if I left him out. But those three really like pushed me to where I am today.
Mhm.
Um, I would say my mom really made me think beyond Memphis for the most part. She's the first person that really just pushed for me to get out of Memphis because leaving high school, I was kind of struggling to find a college to go to, and I
Yeah.
was telling her I was like, I might as well stay here in Memphis, go to Southwest or maybe the University of Memphis, and she was just telling me, no, get out, reach for the stars, go somewhere far. Honestly, well, not that far, but far, just so I can experience more.
Yeah.
So then she ended up, she passed March 3rd of 2019. Then I have my grandmother. My grandmother is who really just like stepped in and kind of took me in even more. And she's kind of like the person that really like developed my character, made me think about everything, like the small things, like how to act when I'm in public, saying thank you, even though that's such a small thing that like people don't really do. She made sure I always had good manners for sure. Well, she still does. If someone's giving me a ride, make sure I'm giving them gas money or something like that. It's the small things that she's always made me realize to keep doing, and so that kind of sticks with me throughout my life.
Yeah.
And my dad, he's full of lectures. It's never a time when I'm around him he's not giving me a lecture. He's one of those parents where if I crack a joke on him or something, it's gonna turn into a lecture. He's one of those parents, and so he just always like giving me those, honestly.
I
So
love it.
just combining those three, it got me to who I am today.
I love that. And I'm sure your mother's watching now, very proud of where you're going in your life and where you're at right now, man. So keep going in your life, man. We're proud of you. And I love to, I just told someone this other day, and I'm not lying, guys. I'm so serious. Older person. I'm not gonna call them old. Older person. I was like, yo, you guys always say it's the little things that matter. So they hear you say that about your grandmother,
Mm.
and the things that she kind of invested in you. It outpours in me because I feel like I'm one of those like dying breeds of the elder black people and how we grew up and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
I'll get to that point where I don't think it's a common thing anymore. So I love to hear that.
Mm.
I gotta ask you, man. Memphis music is one of my favorite things ever, and I don't just mean hip hop. I mean R&B. I mean rock, old school, jazz, all of it. So give me some of your favorite artists in general, but as well, give me some of your top Memphis artists as well.
I would say back in high school, I used to listen to Block Boy JB a
Right.
lot. Moneybag Yo, and then now Glorilla. It's like top three right there. You had Black Youngster in high school a little bit, but not no more. He kind of fell off. So, those are like my really good three that I
Okay,
can listen to on any day.
Memphis through and through. I like it, man. So talk going into high school. I know you were saying at that point that you still were trying to figure out what exactly that you wanted to do moving forward. Then you got the opportunity to be the manager for the girls basketball team at your high school in Germantown. Talk about how that opportunity came apart to you, and how was just that started that journey for you. What were some of the things that maybe you struggled with when you first got that role, and some of the things maybe that you kind of excelled at as well?
Um, I was a really like shy kid in high school. Like I guess I just went up to the coach and talked to her, honestly. And then once I did that, well, honestly, I've always been the person that could talk to older people
Yeah.
easy. But once I've done that, it was like, okay, now I got to get used to being around a team and operating a little bit differently. Like I have to actually like talk, open my mouth, to show a little bit of personality. I can't just be, dull and sit there. I would say the thing that I've done that I did well there, I guess just being loyal to the program. Um, just helping out, showing the coaches that I'm really reliable at whatever task y'all want to give me, I'm able to get that done within a good time that y'all need me to get it done. I would say the thing that I needed to get better at is probably just, I don't know, I guess talking a little more.
Mhm.
Like, although I mean I talked a little bit, but I don't think it was enough. I didn't, and then I also didn't have sometimes some days I didn't have good energy. So I say that energy and talking a little bit more. So yeah.
I've come across people in my lifetime that are kind of in that role of wanting to be a coach someday, but are going through the roles of being a manager or et cetera right now and trying to figure out how do I get to that next level. And some are stuck in the high school, the Division 2 or Division 3, and you got the opportunity to be at Ole Miss. Could you give a piece of advice to people that are trying to get to that assistant coach, that head coaching level one day, but are trying to stick and be patient through the reins of being a manager or being, on the sidelines and not giving much input, but still trying to learn as best as possible?
Honestly, I just say be great in the role that you're in now. Like I would say coming here at Ole Miss, it's definitely been different from what I'm used to. I had to really adjust to my role. And I think I've done good so far. I'm still trying to stay locked in on my role. And then of course my time gonna come. I just gotta keep you just have to keep thinking like that. You can't really get caught up in what everybody else has done so far and all of that. You just got to be good in your role. Keep networking.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, networking and being good in your role is key because if you get focused on everybody else's role and their responsibilities, you're gonna find yourself slacking in yours. And And then you might not think that your role is really important until you mess up. And if you mess up, then that's gonna have everybody else trying to help you out, which then like it's gonna throw the whole thing off. It's all one big puzzle when you're looking at like staff and team, the whole program. So if you're able to be good in your role, you might one day find yourself being promoted a little bit faster than you think. So
Thank you for sharing that. And I ask these things to my guests for purposeful reasons, obviously. But what you also just said doesn't just apply to someone that's a manager of their high school basketball team trying to be a head coach of a college team one day. It applies to everybody. It applies to myself. It applies to any college student, any student in general, anybody working through a job right now that has higher aspirations. So I appreciate you sharing that because sometimes I just think other people need to hear other people say things. And so, I hope that just helps somebody in moving forward with their journey, man. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
Um,
So then another thing is
Go ahead.
you can work yourself out of like the role that you're in. Like if you're really exceeding and like really fast, you can find yourself doing multiple things things that you want to do, and then also doing your roles. I mean, your original role as well. So if you're really exceeding, you can find yourself advancing really fast. So just being patient, just stay patient.
Absolutely. Thank you, man, for sharing that. Has there been, maybe a player, coach, anything, anybody that maybe just inspired you to kind of push towards basketball more than something else that maybe, you just kind of fell in love with their game or their coaching style that you were like, this is something that I want to be a part of?
Um, are you talking about like my early years or like now?
Yeah, somebody growing up is just kind of maybe it inspired you to be like, you know what, I want to be a part of the game of basketball. Maybe this is something I could be a part of in that circumstance.
I've always been a LeBron fan. I've seen him do what he do, and it's like I'm thinking bigger. Like when his back was against the wall, he always came through. Looking, it was real superhero like. So I was just like, dang, I want to be involved a little bit. I want to see what I can do as far as in basketball. I was never like confident enough to really just like get out there, but I knew I had a lot of knowledge. So I was like, maybe I could just stick around the game of it. I mean, the game and maybe coach. Who knows what God has planned for me? But it was definitely LeBron James. I've always been a fan of Greg Popovich and his coaching style. Seeing how he really just like holds his players accountable from top to bottom. That he like treated them all the same, and he really have this idea of like basketball that I really fell in love with, like just a whole bunch of ball movement and fundamentals. Like Tim Duncan wasn't no flashy player. He stuck with the same moves that he practiced day in and day out, and ultimately got him 5 championships.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've always been a good fan of those two people for sure.
I love you bring up Tim Duncan and the Spurs. I watched a podcast with Austin Rivers not too long ago. He was talking about how Manu Ginobili had told him you only need like 2 or 3 moves in your arsenal to be good. Don't overdo it. So I think that that's something that the Spurs implicated a lot on their players, which is why they have 5 rings on their fingers. And
Yeah,
that's something that growing up, I watched a lot of their sets and how they played offensively and they moved around the court. And I know my mom is probably watching this thinking, you know what, you guys have a lot of similarities because a lot of stuff you're saying, I'm like, that was me. Like I was that kid growing up that I had to be pushed to go talk to somebody to connect with them. I had to go forced to be talking to somebody to make a connection or do something that I want to do. And now here I am doing all this. But growing up, that's how I was. So I'm relating to you a lot on the things you're saying. And as well, your college decision is something that I related to as well. So talk about what was your process in picking Tennessee State and maybe as well, or maybe if any other schools that maybe were close to that you were going to other than TSU.
oh my gosh. So before I was gonna go to Lane College, I was okay. My GPA wasn't the best in high school, and so I was kind of trying to find. Oh, I forgot ACT. I struggled with the ACT a lot, so I was trying to get the right school. Hmm?
Can you say that again? You said your GPA and your ACT were what?
They were low. um, my
And
ACT
I
was
asked you to pause, and I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but that's for anybody uh, young watching this right now, thinking I don't have a good GPA, I don't have a high ACT, I can't get to where I want in life. That's not true. I had a horrible ACT myself. I would tell you that wholeheartedly, and I'm still being blessed by God every day. So I love that you were honest about that, Tyler, and shared that because you have the guide in your hands. If you can just move forward and stay patient, you'll be fine. Okay, go ahead, Tyler. I had to point that out because that's so huge. I think that everyone gets so caught up in those things. They're like, oh no, if I don't have a 4.0, oh no, if I don't have a 30 ACT, I'm not gonna make it out. I'm not gonna make it out of Memphis, the streets or wherever you're from.
and,
So I love that you said that.
and I would tell you like though the high school at Germantown, they were talking to me like trying to force me to go to JUCO. Not saying that JUCO is like bad or anything, but I was aiming for something a lot bigger than just settling for junior college or anything less. And I just never really listened to them. I was always the type that was like a prove them wrong type of person. So yeah, I was struggling to find a college, and ultimately I got the right score on the ACT, so that got me into the doors of more than just Lane College. I ended up choosing Tennessee State based off it was a little bit closer to home, wasn't too far. It was out of Memphis, of course, but it wasn't too far. I can just if I needed help, I can go back home, or my family can drive a little bit to get me. So I ended up going to Tennessee State, where I think oh, I'm skipping steps a little bit. My process was like, I just need one college and get my foot in the door at that college, and I'm gonna be good from there. I know how to maneuver. So Tennessee State was the option. I would say like late towards the end of my senior year. Once I figured out I wanted to go to Tennessee State, I started emailing the women's basketball and the men's basketball coaches,
Mhm.
seeing if I could be a manager. So I was starting early, like yeah, early before graduation. I knew that I wanted to be work in college basketball, work for Tennessee State. So I ended up receiving a response from both saying yes. Um, so over the summer, I was able to talk to the men's basketball coaches first. I had a mini interview. That went well. He told me the ins and outs of Tennessee State. Told me what I would be doing, and he told me like who was ahead of me, who was the head manager, all of that, and the competitive spirit in me was saying like, okay, I know I can outwork all of them, da, 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 all of that. So yeah, that was how I chose Tennessee State. Do you want more or like
No, you're good, man. Share as much as you want to. If you want to keep going, go ahead. But if not, I have another follow up question for you.
do the follow up question? Because I know I can go on and on.
That's the point of this. You yap as much as you want to, man. I just wanted HBCU lifestyle, man. Just talk about what was it like being there, man. And what were maybe some of the things outside of basketball that you learned just being a college student at TSU?
If you're really good to people, good gonna come back to you.
Man,
that's that's the biggest thing at a HBCU that I learned. Like being good with the janitors, the cafeteria workers, the financial aid office workers, heavy on the financial aid office workers, because those are the people that can get you in the doors for sure. Like if you have a balance on your account, you can skip the line if you know some people, because that line is long when it's at the beginning of the semester and like 8 a.m. you thinking you got there first. No, that line is through the door because everybody else has the same thing. They have a balance, and they're trying to see why. So you're good to the financial aid workers. You can skip that line. Cafeteria workers, you can skip that line and get your food quick, going back to what you was doing. Your professors at a HBCU, they're some of them like they're closer to you than if you were at, I don't know, I guess here. They're, I guess, at a HBCU they're really more like they'll work with you more.
yeah.
So if you're showing that you really care about your grades and you're really interested in what they're teaching, then you're likely to be able to get a bunch of second chances for sure. If you're skipping, not skipping, but if you just miss some assignments, you're able to get that I don't know, that grace, and also being able to just stay not I'm trying to say stay locked in during the lectures, because sometimes at HBCU you will go to a class and you will see a good majority of students head down, and if you're the only one with your head up, you're a that creates that bond with you and that professor. Also, Greek life at a HBCU is really important.
Mhm.
I wasn't in Greek life. I didn't have the time. I was too focused in athletics. But just seeing the strolls like is really nice. Like in basketball, you have Greek night. You are trying to see like there. It's just a vibe. It's a vibe. Seeing all the AKAs, the deltas, the Qs, the kappas, all of them just do their thing. um. So yeah. Oh, and then student government. I was a part of student government as well. I was a secretary for the senior class. It was really. I thought it was from the outside looking in. I thought it was going to be something that I could never even be a part of. Never thought I could be a part of, because I was, like I said, I was always that person that was kind of closed off. Never really just talked to people.
Yeah.
But I ended up knowing somebody that was like the president, I guess, and he just told me to apply for the secretary position, and I ended up going through the interviewing process and got that. And I would say that's like a family as well. There's more friends that I was able to make over the my years. So yeah.
A few years ago, a woman by the name of Jalen Powell, she's an assistant coach for the Ohio State women's basketball team. She said something very similar to what you said at the beginning. She said you have to respect the janitor because you never know when the janitor can become the CEO. And I think that that's an important file, especially in today's society. I think there's so much hate going on in our world. I think that we forget the basic things like respect, like you just talked about. And so I appreciate you for sharing that. Like you're sharing things that are, I say common sense ain't so common nowadays. So, I think I love that you're sharing these things. So thank you, man. I wanted to ask you this before that, but I kind of slipped my mind. But talk about what was your transition to college like? And when I asked that, just maybe how did moving around so much growing up either prepare you to go off to college or maybe disadvantage you in a manner as well?
Um, I would say it helped me. Like moving around helped me,
Mhm.
because once I was able to really just stick around my like one school consistently, I was able to like really be great at what I was trying to do. Um, like honestly, when I went to Germantown and I was able to save all 4 years, it helped me as well, because I was able to plan out what I wanted to do as well for college. So once I got to college, it was also the same way. I was able to plan out what I needed to do in order to get to the next level. So um honestly, I was still nervous though in the beginning, because of course coming from high school to college is also a big deal. You when you were in high school, you had those teachers that was kind of preparing you and telling you like, in college it's a whole lot different. That was kind of scaring me a little bit. So they were saying that college is different. You're on your own. You don't have them people to just remind you to do these assignments or really give you second chances. So they was kind of telling me like, you really gonna have to grow up. So in college, I thought as soon as I got there, I thought it was gonna be like, I don't know, military style. If that, I hope that ain't crazy, but I thought it was gonna be a lot like scary when I first got there. But then once I really just sat down in my room, took in the moment, I was like, okay, I can do this. Okay, what's next? School? Okay, we finna go to classes. They finna start Monday and all that. So I just took it step by step once I got to Tennessee State. It was slow to getting out of my room, because of course everything is new. I'm trying to figure out what to do now that my parents not here. What it was next. So I just took it step by step. Um, Started with classes, then basketball, and that was about it.
Was there any major differences in terms of you now being at Tennessee State and working for the men's basketball side in comparison to you in high school working with the girls? Is there any like major differences in between the roles that you had in terms of working for the men's and women's side of the game?
Well, working in college, when working as a manager in college basketball is a whole lot different from working as a manager in high school. High school, you had really just water, and you have camera. Like sometimes people have you recording at games as
Yeah.
well. So those two are the main things that I really did in high school, as opposed to in college. Oh man, being a manager, it's like a 24/7 job. Especially at Tennessee State with the men's side, it was a lot different because you kind of you kind of have to be on your P's and Q's all day, probably till like 9 p.m. really. You had guys trying to get in the gym late, getting shots up. You also had laundry that I didn't have in high school. You had laundry to do after practices. You had just equipment and gear in general, like getting it prepared for practice, passing out gear to that normally was in like the summer, honestly. But and then also when practice, like the official practice started, you have to get them to like practice jerseys and whatnot. So I would say in college basketball at Tennessee State, you were basically you play a vital role a lot more. Like, yeah, it's a vital role, honestly.
What are some of your hobbies outside of what you do in your job? What do you do outside of basketball to keep you who you are as a person, man? Like, what do you do to have fun?
Play 2K. I love video games. The PS5 is my life, honestly, outside. And then I also, of course, hanging out with my friends, but the most consistent thing is the PlayStation 5 for me, playing 2K, NCAA now, Call of Duty, what else? Madden sometimes. So whenever I get the chance, whenever I get a day off, or just if I'm out the office a little bit early, I'm able to go get on the game with my friends. We talk a lot of mess to each other. I mean, it's kind of a rivalry every time we get on. So it's that for sure. Playing the game keeps me sane. It balances out my life for
Now,
sure.
the real question is, what's your favorite 2K of all time?
Oh, uh, I don't have a favorite, but I would say I'm not a fan of 25 right now, or 20. Well,
I don't think any.
I'm 25 for sure because that shot meter kills me every time. Like I'm not used to not being able to shoot. Now I gotta be a defender and drive to the rim now. I'm normally the person that's just catching and shooting. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that, but I was really good with 20 for sure. That's like I guess that was the best for me.
For sure, man. Ronnie, if you're watching this, you fix your game. No, seriously, I'm not joking either. It's been a long time, man. Moving forward to Kennesaw State, man. Again, just talk about how that opportunity came apart to you. And what was that experience like, man? Kind of your first kind of in that role of official job now and not being a part of school. But what was that role like for you at Kennesaw State?
Well, at Kennesaw, I was a grad assistant. I would say how I got that role was just simply networking. So the assistant that's there now, she was with Tennessee State's women's basketball program. So we kind of just seen each other day in and day out, like passing by, saying, "Hey, how you doing?" All of that, supporting one another's teams. Because like at Tennessee State, we had the schedule, or like in conference play, the women's play ahead of our men's team. So yeah, so we've always just passed through each other and seen passed through and waved and whatnot. So she's seen me work. She's seen my work ethic. And once she got the job at Kennesaw, I was also trying to transition into my next role, ahead of just being a manager, like just moving up into a GA spot. So I kind of just hit her up and asked if it was a grad assistant role available, and then she told me yeah, and send in my resume, and the rest was history. I went on and got the interview process. Honestly, it was a couple of schools, but that was the school that I, of course, had the success with. Yeah, once the interview process was done, I got it. I got it, and that was that. Now, my time at Kennesaw State, it was short. It was only one season,
Mhm.
but my role was really video, clipping up practices, putting it on the coach's computer, player personnel. So that's in the scouting area of basketball. Assistant in player development, whatever. Mm, really any positions of the team. So just player development in general, and of course helping out the managers whenever they needed it. Just being that person that they go to instead of just the director of operations. So,
You can do practice or a game day for this question, but I want you. Could you give people watching like a breakdown of a practice or a game day for you here at Ole Miss? So, like, if you have a certain practice time you want to talk about, or a certain game time, like, give a breakdown of what time you get up, what time you get to this place, what you have to do between those times, like what time you would you get home. Like, give me a breakdown of what a practice or game day would look like for you.
I'm gonna say practice because game day is kind of like it's a little different. It varies, but a typical practice, honestly, day in and day out, I typically try to get up here around about 8:30, 9. The I guess the regular time is 9. That's what time everybody come in. So before I get there, I have to get my breakfast. I have to get a little sausage and biscuit and a little energy drink to keep me going. So I get to the office around 8, 9. I get started on whatever task I had to do from the previous day. If I didn't finish, I'm typically clipping up like opponents' games, their most recent games. Depends on who we got, but I'm typically clipping up their games, breaking it down, like, and that means just labeling what offense they run, what defense they're in, the results of their plays, and all of that. Then giving it to the coaches when they need it. So doing that, and then so around about 12, 1 ish, I'll probably get lunch, and then practice starts at 1:30. So my role, I am up top when it comes to practices. I'm recording and clipping whatever drills we're doing. I'm labeling that drill on like as far as practice. I'm labeling that. Each one is different, of course, but just labeling. And after practices, I'm giving it to our assistant, and then they pass it on to the head coach. Um, I'm skipping a little bit. I would say around about 10, 11 ish. You never know what player is going to come in and try to shoot. It's a little bit different. So I'm always on the lookout for a player that's trying to get in the gym and shoot. I'm rebounding, whatever. So yeah, that's that. After practice, there's always players trying to shoot again. So I'm rebounding, doing whatever. Sometimes I'm giving rides to players, certain players if they need it. Typically, honestly, it'd be the freshman that really needs rides because they're new, and not every freshman is gonna start out with their own car. So that's typically the practice day for sure.
I don't want to jump the gun too far with this question, but and because I know you're just at Ole Miss, you're not even full your first full year. But if you have one, essentially, what is your end goal? Like, what is the highest prosperity for you in terms of your career and what you want to be one day?
So I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. But it's ultimately a head coach. But I think since I've been here at Ole Miss, I kind of like one area, which is scouting and player development. I think I want to stick around in those type of roles because, of course, as a head coach, you're kind of like focused on a lot of different things off the court, and I like more so of X's and O's and developing players more so than having to do a lot off the court. I also like recruiting as well. Like I've always wanted to learn that. So, but mainly scouting and player development. Honestly, that's about it.
Okay, I like that, man.
So I'm
Um,
on those two: head coaching and scouting.
Usually before I wrap up, I ask two questions, and it's two in one. So stick with me when I go through it. But like the first is just a piece of advice you would give to someone watching and listening. And when I say that, just a piece of advice that you've learned throughout your lifetime that has helped you push through days or helped you get where you are today. What's something that you want to give somebody listening to help their lives? And secondly, I'm big on legacy. And doing things in the manner of I want to be remembered for, I want to be talked about for. So, what do you want your legacy to be? When people say Tyler Buckner, what do you want people to always remember about who you are as a person?
Okay. The first one is wait, dang. What's the first question?
Advice. What piece of advice would you give to somebody listening?
I would say I guess this goes to like everything you do. Don't compare yourself to anybody because comparison is the thief of joy. I would
Amen.
say that. Just be patient. Be patient. Don't compare yourself. Reach for the stars. Never. Yeah, I'm gonna stop it there. Comparison is the thief of joy, and just be patient. The legacy, what I want people to remember me by, is just being a everyday person, a consistent person, like somebody that you can really count on to get things done. If I don't know, if he don't know, he's gonna figure it out. So, just being that type of person, and of course, I want to be remembered for my work ethic. Of course, we all talked about like Mamba mentality and all of that. So I would like to be remembered as someone that had that for sure.
I love it, man. Thank you for being honest and sharing that. And I have one section that I've recently just started adding that I call quick hitters. So stick with me on this one too. I'm basically just going to ask you quick questions, and whatever is like the first thing that pops into your mind, you're just going to give me the answer to. Okay. So tell me, dream. What would be your dream car?
Tesla.
Okay.
Wait, Tesla or Cadillac?
Okay. Favorite song right now?
Dang. 20s by Givian. Givian or Givian. I don't know how you say his name. But
Okay. Dream vacation spot?
dang. Dang. Somewhere in Hawaii.
Okay. Uh, if you could have dinner with three people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Ooh. Kevin Hart, Drewski, Casanet.
Fire dinner. I love that. I love every single answer of that. Okay.
Right now.
If you could add one women's basketball player ever, WNBA college ever, to this 2025-2024 Ole Miss women's basketball team, who would you add?
Ooh. One WNBA player to this, like you said, to this Ole Miss team, you said?
Mhm.
Dang. Give me nah. Give me what's that like Sabrina.
Ooh, I like that. That would bring a bit of a shooting to this Ole Miss team. Okay, I like that. Do you have a pregame meal?
Honestly, whatever Ole Miss is having. So mainly pasta.
Um, if you could see one person join me on the show, who would it be?
If I could see one person. What do you mean?
Like, who's one person that you would like to see join me on the show and have a conversation with?
Give me, how many Ole Miss players have you done?
Not enough, my friend. Not enough. I want to go two off the top of my head. Yeah, two.
They must have been like the seniors, one of the seniors, or two of the seniors.
They're both graduated and gone now, so nobody on this current.
Mm,
We would love to have a few hashtag
yeah.
KKD, hashtag Maddie, hashtag Toddy, all my seniors. Me as well.
I've been seeing you reposting them lately.
So
you
we
can
gonna
you can do a little bit. You can do I don't know, Sarah.
hashtag freshman of the year. We gonna our time is coming. We gonna work on all that. Okay, so we gonna y'all heard it. Tyler just spoke that into existence. So hopefully y'all see throughout either season 5 or moving forward some of my Ole Miss women's basketball players joining me on the show. So Y'all can blame Tyler for that. No, I'm just messing. Thank you, man. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I just want to say thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure to talk to you, laugh with you a little bit, get to know you better. I enjoyed this a lot. I really did. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you have anything, just go ahead, man.
I would like to say, I like your grind for sure. I was very intrigued in the introduction to season 5. I think this is what it was. Yeah, it was very comical for sure. What is your end goal? Like, I know you asked me, but what is yours?
Oh man, I think I've in the 5 years of me doing this, I've only been asked a question from my guests like that maybe once. Shout out to Gary Burton. Man, you know what? I'm still trying to figure that out myself, man. I do so much. I don't know how to sit down, and I don't know how to focus my energy on one specific thing. I think in terms of maybe end goal for this, man. I don't. Something like the Pat McAfee show, the Dan Patrick show, something like that. Just building this. Having maybe in person things going on soon, which is coming, by the way. And just having maybe a buddy or two on with me and just doing a show, interviewing people from all walks of life as well, having fun, going to like live sporting events and talking to coaches and athletes before and after games, stuff like that. So I'd probably say that would be my end goal for what this show is. I think that's what I'm investing in. I did more people outside of just specific in sports in the 4th season, and I'm continuing that now. I think that sports is my expertise, but there's also, like I said at the beginning, stories from every person on this earth. And I think I just have a job in displaying those stories. So I think that would be my end goal in terms of this. This is my love, and so I'm trying to settle down in terms of everything else that I do. But I do love a lot of things, so I put too much on my plate sometimes. But that would probably be my end goal.
I have a couple of similar friends that are trying to get into the media world. I mean, the sports media world that you're in. What advice would you give to them when you're starting? Like, I know it started off a little rocky, but let's talk about like how you kept going. Like, what kept you going?
I think it's what kept me going is having the right purpose. I tell people I just had a buddy that's at Notre Dame, and he called me saying that I'm starting my own podcast. What advice would you give me? Blah blah blah. We talked for about a good hour. Purpose. I tell people my name is on this, but it's not about me at all. And when I first started, I started doing COVID. I wasn't doing anything, so I was trying to give myself the opportunity to be productive during, just being in the house 24/7. And initially, it was going to be like a sports talk show where I was just coming on. The Eagles beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, blah blah blah. But digging deeper, I was like, is that really what God has put me on earth for? Blah blah blah. And I've been grateful to have this and gain connections and talk about Ole Miss sports and other sports on other shows. But that's not my main purpose on here. So purpose is what it is. I wanted to come on, have people in the sports world share their stories, their wisdom, their advice, and laugh and have meaningful conversations. And that's what I've been able to do. I tell people also be patient. I didn't start seeing real growth until this past 4th season. So I was 4 years in, and there were things that I was like, what can I do better? Why is this not growing? Why is this not seeing the light like other things are? So purpose and be patient. None of this has happened overnight. I don't look at anything that I do. I'm my biggest critic. So I don't look at anything I do as super extraordinary. Like you were saying in the beginning, like you were like just shocked that I asked you. I'm like, man, I love to hear that. But at the same time, man, I'm just me, man. And I think that God has blessed me to do what I've been able to do. And I'll say one third thing as well. You talked about it so much, but connections. My mom instilled that in me at a young age. She always would say, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And she would literally push me to go talk to people. And there were times I was so young, I would cry because I'm like, I don't want to talk to them. And it helped me develop to where I am today. And by simple conversation, like you said, for people that don't know this, I just DM Tyler, and this is our first conversation, this on camera right now. I won't say all of my guests have been like that over the 5 years, but a good portion of them have, whether it's a simple DM, meeting them in person for the first time. That's how a lot of these guests have been on, and those connections that I've just built, I've continued to keep, and it's allowed me to, through them, meet other people as well. So purpose, patience, and connections. I think those are probably the three biggest things I will tell somebody that is trying to do something in this sports media world in general. So those would be probably the three biggest things I would tell somebody.
Okay, that's dope. I believe that's all I had as well.
Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was so fun. Like I don't joke when I say this. This is fun for me. Like having conversations. I'm an introvert, but like talking to people and hearing their stories is incredible for me. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please press that subscribe button. Give this video a like and leave a comment as well. Just give us your thoughts about what we talked about, some things that I can improve on as well. So thank you guys for your love and support. Make sure you keep tuning in to the 5th season of the Daylan Show. Thank you guys again, and thank you, Tyler, for your much love and grace today, man.
Anytime.